All right. Well, thanks for joining, Kenny. Great to see you again this month.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Good to be here.
For those of you out there, if this is your first time watching or listening, I'm Dan Pallison, financial psychologist, wealth manager. I'm here with Kenny Gatliff, senior investment manager, CFA. So we like to go back and forth. Our commitments to keeping these conversations under 10 minutes. So we're going to jump right in. I'm having some fun today. We're the day before Thanksgiving. Kenny, I'm wearing my Thanksgiving shirt. I've got
Love
my
it.
peace and love around Thanksgiving. So it's nice and roomy. If I'm eating a lot, I can fill it out. So
Nothing.
here's what we're going to do today. You and I have talked about this already, but for the listener, um, we're going to compare our portfolios to the plate at Thanksgiving dinner. You know, what fits what category. So Kenny and I have gone back and forth on a few of these. So Kenny, if our portfolio was our plate at Thanksgiving dinner, what would be the turkey? What would be that staple of the Thanksgiving meal?
So I actually love this game because obviously it's kind of silly, and we're talking about comparing food to a portfolio, but there actually are some truths we can take away from here. So I actually like doing it. So obviously, the main centerpiece of your Thanksgiving meal for almost everyone is to be that turkey, and so for us, that's going to equate within our portfolios just to owning stocks and primarily those U.S. large stocks. They are the linchpin of the portfolio. They kind of move it. They're worldwide, even they are the biggest in terms of market cap, in terms of what moves the market, and we're not going to stray from that. So we want to have that be, the absolute centerpiece of our portfolio, just as that turkey would be, for your Thanksgiving dinner.
I love it. Okay, next category, Kenny, the mashed potatoes. Now, some may argue to have even a heavier mashed potato plate than turkey, but let's say for the sake of today, turkey's the staple, but the next biggest item on that plate is going to be those mashed potatoes. So, Kenny, what represents mashed potatoes in our portfolios?
Well, I'm a heavy mashed potatoes guy, so I love them. But yeah, the portfolio. So that would be something to say, you know what? You can't just eat turkey. You need something else. And so for the portfolio side of things, that would probably be expanding into the international stocks, right? U.S. generally has done pretty well, but we have seen, people remember the decade of the 2000s where U.S. stocks didn't do very well. And in those times, you do need that diversification, just like in the Thanksgiving dinner, right? If you eat all turkey, you're not going to be feeling great. So you just need something else on the plate there to make it a more well diversified plate.
I love it. Okay. Kenny, what would be the gravy? The gravy, I mean, you associate it with the mashed potatoes, but the way I treat gravy on Thanksgiving is it just goes on the entire plate. And it's that thing that brings all of the different foods together. So when we think about our portfolios, what would be the gravy?
100% on it going on everything. Gravy is good with everything. And I think for that perspective, the gravy is what kind of ties it all together. And for our, the way we manage portfolios, that kind of equates to rebalancing, right? If things get out of whack, we want to make sure everything is in line, what it's supposed to be. And therefore, we're getting actually kind of what we want to get. And so, that might be a little bit of a looser tie-in, but kind of same idea. It brings everything together. It gets you what you want to be getting out of the meal.
I love it. Yeah, no, the gravy, it's not the asset class, but it's the investment strategy. It's the rebalancing when you can, and again, I rebalance at Thanksgiving too. If that turkey's a little dry, I might throw a little gravy towards the turkey. If the turkey's perfect, but the mashed potatoes are bland, that's what's getting the gravy, right? I mean, we want to be strategic with where the gravy goes. So, okay, I mean, we could kill this. All right, I'm going to move along. So, okay, Kenny, here's the next one. We've talked about this. So after a great Thanksgiving meal, everyone gets some pumpkin pie. That is the staple dessert after a Thanksgiving meal, your pumpkin pie. But if you're at that gathering that has the whole dessert plate, obviously there's going to be pumpkin pie. But let's say there's a little extra dessert. Maybe there's some pecan pie. I love pecan pie. So Kenny, not just the dessert that's available for everyone, but what would be that pecan pie, that just extra special treat to be a part of a portfolio?
So I love this analogy, Jan. It's a really good one. So, that would kind of tie into the private market side of thing, right? The Thanksgiving dinner is perfectly fine with just the pumpkin pie. In fact, that's usually what I'll go to. But, if there is a little opportunity to improve it just a little bit in certain situations, the pecan pie can absolutely do that. And that's kind of the same idea with the private investments, right? If you have, you know, the type of portfolio where it could be benefited, well, that's when, that pecan pie is really going to be that added bonus, just like the private investments is that added bonus.
That's right. That's right. Okay. All right. Finally, Kenny, um, this is the Uh, uh, the item that might be more important for our older folks at Thanksgiving, those that are a little bit more sensitive, their guts, their esophagus to the volatility of the portfolio, right? That heartburn that might last. And so, what would be the equivalent of our heartburn medicine? What's our Prilosec? What's our Tums?
I mean, Dan, with you and I both turning 40 in the last year, this is a very
Yeah,
relevant
yeah,
part of the
I need it too.
conversation.
I need it too. But we'll go with the analogy.
No, I think, this is where, if you overeat and, things are going well, there's no problems. But occasionally there's going to be times where things are not going well. And, we see that obviously, this a little bit labored analogy here with
Mhm.
the Thanksgiving dinner. But if things are not going well, you need something to buffer that. You need something to help out on those bad times. And so on the investment side of things, that's going to be your fixed income. And, the reason fixed income is so great is that the good type of fixed income, where we find to be relevant in the portfolio, that's actually going to be negatively correlated to the equity side of things. And what negative correlation means is if stocks, if the other parts of the portfolio we've ever talked about, if those are going down, well, that means by and large, almost always historically, we've seen fixed income go in the other direction. It goes up. And that's a great buffer on that portfolio for those that don't want to take on the full volatility of a full equity portfolio, which in reality is almost everyone. And it's the same idea. If things, if you overeat, if things aren't feeling good, you need something to just make you feel better during those hard times. But it's something that's usually kind of thrown on at the end. We don't think about a lot, but it is actually can be really important for those times where you need it.
Kenny, thanks so much for indulging me on this silly thought experiment, but this is fun.
I can tell
Um,
where your brain's at right now, Dan.
I know. Like I said, we're recording on Wednesday, just the day before Thanksgiving. Kenny, we've got a minute or two left. I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite item at a Thanksgiving dinner?
Ah, so my wife always makes fun of me that my plate is 100% white. I won't have a favorite, but I'm half my plate is potatoes, half my plate is turkey. Throw some gravy on there. That's really all I need. Everything else is just extra for me.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I've got a recipe from my Aunt Lourdes, rest in peace, a good cornbread with some cheese baked in the top. It's pretty easy to make, but it's so good. And that'll be like my one contribution to the Thanksgiving meal. That's not true. I was working on the turkey earlier today, but all right,
Proud
Kenny,
of you.
I am thankful for you. I'm thankful for getting to work with you, learn from you. Most of all, thankful for your friendship. But I really do wish you and your family a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thanks so much.
Yeah, same to you, Dan. It's been fun.